Hello and welcome to the College Essay Guy Virtual College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Jenny and I'm going to be your facilitator. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website. This presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/collegeessayguy. I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter, Carnegie Mellon University School of Drama.
Hello, everyone. My name is Micah Harrison Loosemore. I use she, her pronouns, and I am here today from Carnegie Mellon University School of Drama. Carnegie Mellon University is a private Research One university. We are located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, founded in about 1900. So we have an urban campus. Our total enrollment is just over 14,000 students. Half of those are undergraduate students and half of those are graduate students. We're made up of 7 different schools and colleges. You can see those here. We've got the College of Engineering, the College of Fine Arts, which is where the School of Drama is located, Diedrich College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Heinz College of Information Systems and Public Policy, Mellon College of Science, the School of Computer Science, and Tepper School of Business. I will, at the end of the session, include the Office of Admission Information. So if you have questions about any of those other schools or colleges, you're welcome to reach out to them directly. A little bit about life at Carnegie Mellon as a whole. So our founder, Andrew Carnegie, was Scottish. So you can see that there's a lot of Scottish themed things here. We have a lot of really wonderful activities, even though we are on the smaller side of some schools. We have some wonderful things like clubs and Greek life are still possible at Carnegie Mellon. Our biggest sports event is Buggy, which is the image on the middle of the left-hand side. So there's a human being in there, if you can believe it. It's a really big deal on campus, so a lot of fun. There are a number of different housing opportunities on campus. These are just 6 of the ones that School of Drama students will typically live in. Those include, traditional dorm style, apartment style, suite style, gender inclusive, single gender. So lots of different options around our campus for all of our first year students who are required to live there. Many students then, when they get to their second year and beyond, do choose to live off campus in the surrounding area within Pittsburgh and explore the community. So one of those 7 colleges and schools is the College of Fine Arts. And within the College of Fine Arts, you find architecture, art, design, drama, music, a BXA program, which is kind of like an interdisciplinary program. And then we also have an arts and entertainment management program. So today we're going to focus on the School of Drama. We were founded in 1914, and we are the oldest degree-granting conservatory institution in the country. We combine established practice with innovation and technological advancement across all disciplines. And our graduates commit to the enrichment of diverse arts practices, champion interdisciplinary collaborations, explore new forms of creative expression, and promote community and diversity. We are a conservatory program within the greater university. So it's a wonderful opportunity to explore being a leader in the artistic field that you choose, whether that be on stage, film, television, or the expanding realm of new media. Students in our program receive a BFA in drama, and we have 5 different programs within the undergraduate section. So those include acting, music theater, directing, dramaturgy, and then 8 individual areas within design and production. We have very small class sizes. There's typically about an 8-to-1 student-teacher ratio, and we do an average of 20 productions every academic year. This is just a sampling of some of our spaces within the Purnell Center for the Arts, which is our main building on campus. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, the Chosky Theater. Underneath it, our costume shop, and which is up here, and then our scene shop and lighting and painting area, and then 2 of our black box theaters over here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to quickly go through each one of our specific areas for undergraduate enrollment. We have design and production, which includes costume, lighting, scenic, sound, and video and media design, and then production technology and management. So production technology, stage and production management, and technical direction. Dramaturgy, which is, if you've never heard of it before, is the art of applying scholarly, analytical, and research skills to the creation of a performance event. So if you love history and English and research, but you also love theater, dramaturgy might be the place for you. Our directing students have projects across all theater disciplines, including choreography, acting classes, studio productions, directing courses, camera video work, and they also have the opportunity to study in New York City for 1 semester and work on some professional mentoring. And our acting and music theater program. We are a Stanislavski-based program. If you don't know what that means, I didn't either before I started in theater. So look it up later or email me and I'm happy to talk more about it. Our first 2 years are foundational and the second 2 move into production and preparing you for the professional world. At Carnegie Mellon University, we also offer a drama minor and then that BXA program that I mentioned, which is a cross opportunity program. We have wonderful financial aid packages. We are a need-based financial aid school. So about 76% of the first-year students who apply for financial aid receive aid. So I strongly recommend that, that all students apply for need-based financial aid. And we have a wonderful tool called the Net Price Calculator, which can help you figure out what sort of package you might be able to expect even before you apply. Our application information and dates are here. Most importantly, December 1st is the upcoming date. So do pay attention to that. We have fee waivers available for everybody. And I believe I'm at the end of my 6 minutes. So I'm going to bring up my contact information and I'll drop these in the link as well. Again, my name is Micah Harrison Loosemore. I'm the Director of Recruitment and Enrollment, and it's been lovely to meet you all tonight.
Thank you so much. And just a reminder to all of our participants here today that you can use the Q&A function to ask questions of any of our panelists and schools here at any time during the presentation. So feel free to use that Q&A function. Up next, we have Sarah Lawrence College.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. It's always great to learn about other colleges. I only have 6 minutes, so I'm going to try to move through some of the most important aspects of Sarah Lawrence College in terms of academics, campus life, and a little bit about the admission process. But please do feel free to follow up with me at any point after the presentation. Questions or if there's more information I can provide. Sarah Lawrence is a private college of the liberal arts and sciences. We are a small college. We have about 1,400 students at the undergraduate level. We also have a small graduate program as well, with about 300 students in a few different specializations. Our students are coming from all over the country and all over the world. About 12 to 13% of our students are international students coming from abroad. Our campus is located in Bronxville, New York. As you can see on this map, Bronxville is located just outside of New York City. The town of Bronxville is suburban. The campus is about 44 acres, and housing is guaranteed on campus for all 4 years. Typically about 85 to 90% of students live in campus dorms. I think something that's really attractive to students at Sarah Lawrence is the balance between a traditional residential campus life in a suburban college town, and then also having access to New York City. This map shows you the train route that you can take into Grand Central Station. It says 40 minutes. I take the train back and forth almost every day. And I would say 35 minutes is actually a pretty good average. So you have very quick and easy access to New York City, amazing internship opportunities, amazing cultural life there. But you also have your campus as a home base. Again, housing guaranteed all 4 years. About 90% of students living in campus dorms. At Sarah Lawrence, we have a very broad curriculum that encompasses the liberal arts and sciences. These are the 4 areas of study. Within those areas of study, we have about 50 individual academic disciplines that you can choose your courses from. We draw the curriculum as an overlapping series of circles because that's how we think of the curriculum, as overlapping and interconnected. We do not think of the different areas of study as being totally separate from one another. So most of our students are studying across disciplines and connecting different fields of study and different approaches academically. Rather than declaring a traditional major at Sarah Lawrence, students work individually with faculty mentors, and they design their own programs of study. Every student graduates from Sarah Lawrence College with a BA, Bachelor of Arts, in the liberal arts and sciences, which means that while they are studying in our liberal arts and sciences program, they are free to take any course that falls under that umbrella. So again, students are able to study very broadly across disciplines rather than just having one single narrow focus, as you would in a more traditional major program. Being that we're a small college, our classes are also very small. Most of our courses are discussion seminars. Those are capped at 15 students. The average class size is 12. I was a Sarah Lawrence student. I graduated in 2015 from the master's program. And I think this picture does a better job of conveying what it's like to be in a classroom at Sarah Lawrence than I ever could with words. There is, however, an additional component to the coursework, which is what we call conference work. As part of every seminar class that you take at Sarah Lawrence, you also meet one-on-one with the professor every other week for about 30 minutes. Over the course of the semester, you develop an independent research project for that course. And we refer to this as the seminar conference model, because most of our courses consist of those two components. The seminar is the small group discussion, that is the actual in-class experience. The conference is where you're meeting one-on-one with the faculty member every other week. That is a standing recurring appointment that you have throughout the semester as part of the coursework. So Sarah Lawrence academics are very tailored to the individual student, both on the macro level, where you have a great deal of freedom to choose your own courses and pursue interests across different areas of study. And then also within individual courses, because you'll be working one-on-one with the professor as well as in that small group discussion setting. Often for the purposes of pursuing internships. And of course, you know, there are amazing concerts and amazing exams and lots of things to do, you know, in the city. But we have over 100 active clubs and organizations at Sarah Lawrence. We have a lot of great traditions. There's an annual Princess Bride screening, which takes place outdoors. We also have several Division III NCAA athletic teams. We do some recruiting for those, but you can also walk onto teams once you're a student as well. This is a picture of the tea house on campus. It's one of my favorite spots. Whenever people take tours of campus and I ask them about it afterwards, they always comment on the tea house. I think it's one of the more memorable spots on campus. This is a student-run coffee and tea operation. So if you're on your way to class and you need a little burst of energy, you can pick up a coffee or tea on the way. This is a very abridged list of internships that people have done. Keep in mind, you know, New York City has a ton of different opportunities. Internships are coordinated through our career services office. They plan and organize an internship fair on campus. They help connect students with different opportunities. They'll help you polish up your resume and your cover letter. And this is definitely something we encourage students to do. You know, take advantage of all those opportunities in New York City to get a little bit of work experience. These are our admission deadlines. We take a very holistic approach to admissions at Sarah Lawrence. You know, your transcript, your GPA, your testing, if you choose to submit it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. That's one part of the application, but we are not only interested in numbers and statistics. I think I'm getting the signal I need to wrap up. You know, but just as a final note, we are test optional. I think that speaks to our approach to admissions, which is not only focused on statistics, but really interested in the entire picture that we get from the application. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing everyone else's presentation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And just a quick reminder that you can use that Q&A function to chat with any of our schools at any time and get your questions answered. Up next, we have Bennington College.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Seth and talking about Sarah Lawrence's a perfect segue into Bennington. In some ways, we both have non-traditional approaches to a liberal arts education. So happy to talk to you about Bennington today. Bennington is a very small private liberal arts college located in southern Vermont, so we're about 3.5 hours north of New York City and about 3 hours west of Boston. As I mentioned, we've got 720 students. They're coming from over 60 different countries and 41 states in the US. About 17% of our students are international students. That small size pares down to the individual student experience. We've got average class sizes around 12 to 15 and a student to faculty ratio of 10 to 1. There are kind of two main pieces of a Bennington education that really forms the crux of a student's experience academically. The first is our academic structure itself. We have a completely open curriculum in which we offer 45 different areas of study and courses within those. I'll pop those up right on the screen there. Throughout a student's 4 years at Bennington, in tandem with support and advising from the academic advisor, as well as 3 to 4 faculty members who are experts in the fields that student is most passionate about, every single student will develop their own course of study and practice. So for those of you out there who are passionate about multiple different areas of study, you're looking to be able to pursue perhaps a niche area of interest that might connect multiple different disciplines and not fit neatly into one area of study or the other. Bennington and open curriculum might be a great option for you. So these are our lists of areas of study. I also have an example just back here of a student who graduated last year, Lily, in terms of thinking of what her course of study looked like. So at Bennington, we call our academic structure the plan process, right? Every student is creating their own plan. So Lily's plan was centered on visual arts, computer science, and mathematics. And you can see there that Lily had a really specific inquiry. How can thoughtful, aware design be used as a solution, artistic, theatrical, or computational, to manifest visions, make tools, and communicate ideas? So you can see just how specific students can get in carving out an education at Bennington around exactly what they're most passionate about. The second kind of key piece of a Bennington education is that we're the only college in the US to have required annual internships since our founding. And students get really creative with what they do over these internships. Every single January and February for 6 weeks, every student at Bennington leaves campus, or the vast majority leave campus, and they pursue 6 weeks of fieldwork in an area related to their studies. So you can see Lily, who's pursuing visual art, computer science, and math, did fieldwork terms at the North Adams Makers Mill, Insight Interfaces in Washington, DC, and at the Bronx Museum. Students can test their ideas and really calibrate the way that their studies are forming at Bennington through this annual opportunity to be able to apply what they're learning to real fields of work. I have some extra examples here of fieldwork term sites, as you can notice from 2020, which was during the kind of first big wave of the global pandemic. So you can see our students still pursued fieldwork term experiences anywhere from Google to HarperCollins Publishers to the Vermont State Legislature. In terms of thinking about residential life, Bennington is a residential campus. We guarantee housing on campus all 4 years. Our students live in actual houses, kind of white, wooden, circa 1930s houses with about 30 to 35 students in them each. We've got 18 on-campus houses that naturally have their own personalities. We have no separation of housing based on any factor at Bennington. So as an incoming first-year student, you're living with second years, third years, fourth years, no separation based on academic studies, gender identity. We place students in houses based on their personality and what they're looking for in a house community. And so before you arrive on campus, you fill out an extensive survey that pulls out the kinds of communities that you thrive most in. And we have one wonderful staff member who goes through every single one of those and hand assigns you to a house community and to a roommate. In terms of thinking of the application process, we try and make it as easy as possible for students. So we have no application fee. You can see our application and financial aid deadlines just right there in the center of the screen. 92% of our students receive some form of financial aid. We offer both merit and need-based financial aid. You don't need to submit Any additional documents to be considered for any of our merit-based scholarships, they range from just shy of $3,000 a year all the way up to just shy of $35,000 per year. If you would like to apply for need-based financial aid, we require the CSS profile and the FAFSA to be submitted by the application deadline of the round that you're applying in. Similar to my colleague Seth was mentioning, with regards to Sarah Lawrence, Bennington College is also a completely test optional college. So if you don't submit standardized testing, it has absolutely no impact on your eligibility for any of our merit-based financial aid or on your likelihood for admissions. Just kind of pop out my favorite statistic to wrap up. I think this is a credit to fieldwork term, the process of students being able to design their own course of study around their passions and test those ideas where it counts every single year. 77% of our graduates report being fully engaged with work just 1 year out of graduation, compared to 39% of graduates nationally. I think that's a testament to this trial and error, 4 different shots at careers before you choose one after you graduate. I will turn it over now, but thank you again, everyone, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And again, to all of our participants, if you have questions for any of these schools at any time, feel free to use that Q&A function and they will chat with you during our presentations. Up next, we have DePaul University.
All right, hopefully you are seeing that. Hi, my name is Erin Updegraff. I am the Interim Dean of Admission at DePaul University. Excited to share a little bit about our institution. So we'll jump right in. DePaul is a private Catholic institution in the heart of Chicago, Illinois. We've got an undergraduate population of about 14,500 students. We're actually the biggest Catholic institution in the country. It's pretty exciting. We have big school resources and we're located in the 3rd largest US city, but the experience of students within the academic community at DePaul is very personal by design. So our average class size is about 22 students. 90% of our classes have fewer than 40 students in them. Our student body is very diverse, definitely reflects the diversity of the city of Chicago. 40% of our students come to Chicago from out of state, with California being the state that sends us the most students from out of state. 44% of our freshmen are students of color, and 35% of our freshmen are the first in their family to earn a college degree. So we have a lot of support services on campus for students who are the first in their family to come to college, which is really pretty neat. While we are a Catholic school, the experience at DePaul is as Catholic as you decide to make it. So we have students from over 40 different faith and non-faith backgrounds on campus. We are named after St. Vincent de Paul. He was a priest in 16th century France who dedicated his life to ending cycles of poverty and social injustice. So we aim to keep that Vincentian tradition alive with the work that we do at the institution. We prepare all of our students to think and act with others in mind, using higher education as a means to engage cultural, social, religious, and ethical values in service to others. We have 2 campuses in Chicago. One is located downtown where all the tallest buildings are over here. That's the area of Chicago called the Loop. The other is here in Lincoln Park, where you see this sports field here. So we kind of have a little bit of the best of both worlds in terms of coming to an urban environment for college. Lincoln Park is home to our more traditional campus. So we have a quad, lots of trees. The majority of our residence halls are there. You see students just walk into class, with their DePaul hoodies on the way you would at other campuses all over the country. In contrast, then the Loop is right in the center of Chicago's business district. So I actually call it vertical learning. You might have one course on the 4th floor of a building and then another on the 11th floor of a building, just kind of depending on what classes you have going on. So pretty neat to see, DePaul students downtown walking around, more professional attire. Maybe they've come from an internship because we have so many opportunities close at hand. But the 2 campuses are connected very easily by the L, so this L train right here. And all of our students are able to access public transportation in Chicago because they get a UPass built into their tuition. So that gives you access to the CTA trains, and the buses, so they really can explore the whole city. We have 10 different schools and colleges at DePaul, although only this first 8 here up through the School of Music are for our undergraduate students. These schools altogether have over 300 different programs of study. So just to get into a few of them, some of our most popular programs are housed within our College of Business, as well as within our conservatory style programs in music and theater. We've got some great programs in the sciences and health. Focused programs, we actually have accelerated options for students interested in medical related professions. So that's pretty popular. And we just launched a brand new direct entry nursing program. So the first cohort of those students is going to start in fall 2022, which is pretty exciting. Our College of Computing and Digital Media is actually our fastest growing school. It's home to our film and television program, our animation program, our game design program, as well as many other programs too. And then basically the first 3 colleges here listed are located on our Loop campus, and the others are on our Lincoln Park campus. So the campus that students will be spending the majority of their time on has to do more with what majors they are choosing and what college that's within. We have a couple of different honors options at DePaul as well. So we have a university-wide honors program, but then we also have specific programs for business and health sciences students. We do have a combined 3+3 option with DePaul's College of Law down here. So students can actually graduate with a bachelor's degree and a JD law degree in 6 years instead of 7. We also have a lot of students that come in completely undecided, and that's totally fine. It's definitely possible to combine different programs in terms of double majoring or maybe adding a minor or 2 to a major. And most students, as long as they can decide on their major kind of by the end of their sophomore year, beginning of their junior year, they should be able to graduate in 4 years with no problem. So student life at DePaul, we've got a lot of things going on. And then there's obviously a lot of things happening in the city of Chicago too, which is really neat. We've got over 350 different clubs and organizations. We are a Division I school in terms of athletics. So students cheer for our Blue Demons, that's our mascot. There's also club and intramural sports for students who aren't quite at that Division I level. We have outdoor adventure programs. We have political organizations, religious organizations, clubs that are focused on academics. We do have Greek life on campus. About 10% of our students are involved in a fraternity or sorority. So something for everyone. And if you can't find something that you're interested in, you can always start your own organization. You just need a couple friends and a faculty or staff sponsor. So Chicago, as I've kind of mentioned, is kind of the setting for all of the learning that's happening at DePaul. All of our students actually take a seminar in their first quarter with us called the Chicago Quarter Class. So in that class, you're going to go on-site visits and explore the city. There's a lot of different topics to choose from. So there's classes just focused on the Chicago Cubs. There's classes like crime and politics in Chicago, improv in the city, art and public sculpture, Chicago blues scene. So in any of those courses, no matter which one you pick, you'll get to actually go into the city with your class. So it's a great opportunity to explore new neighborhoods, but also learn how to navigate the public transportation system in Chicago, especially for students who maybe aren't used to that. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead here until the next to talk about the application. Here's next steps to apply. We are on the common application. We have a November 15th early action deadline. We are test optional. So we've been test optional since 2012. So you can submit a test score or not, however you want to represent yourself in the application. And if you have any other questions, here's my contact information and I'll put it in the chat as well. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And up next, we have Simmons University.
Yay, okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right, I think everyone can see this. So my name is Denise West Rosales. I use she, her pronouns, and I am one of the senior assistant directors. Diversity, recruitment, access, and inclusion is my full title. And I will be talking about Simmons University, which is located in Boston, Massachusetts. So just to give you a brief overview of kind of, who we are and what we have essentially. So We're located in Boston, Massachusetts, like I mentioned, specifically in the Fenway area. So if you're familiar with Fenway Park, the Red Sox, it's literally a 10 to 15-minute walk there, depending on the entrance you go in. And although we're in the city, we're a fairly small school, about 1,800 undergraduate students. We have about 60 plus majors and programs, and 70 plus organizations and clubs. So to give you an idea, in case you're not too familiar with our location, this is like a quick map on where in Boston we're located. So Boston, as many of you might know, is known as a college town. There's about 300,000 college students in the Boston area, so we're close to many other universities. And then this map just shows where exactly we are, like I mentioned. So like I said, we're down the street from Fenway Park, but we're also right next to the Longwood Medical area. So that's where some of the best hospitals in the country are located. So Boston Children's, Brigham and Women's, Beth Israel, Dana-Farber Institute of Cancer. So just to name a few. And the reason that's relevant is because we actually have very close partnerships with these hospitals in regards to students getting internships, doing research in the hospital, so much so that every year we have people from these hospitals reaching out to us, asking us for more interns or students that are interested in some sort of research. We have a really great reputation with them, and so we're continually sending students over because they love our students. Simmons is a women-centered institution, so students that identify as women, trans, non-binary, gender fluid can attend our undergraduate programs, and our graduate programs are co-ed. Aside from being next to Fenway Park and the Longwood Medical area, we're also next to some great museums. So the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts, all of those are walking distance, like 5-minute walk from Simmons. And one of the perks of attending Simmons, you can actually get into these museums for free by showing your Simmons ID. Everything on this map is also accessible by our public transit system, or what we call the T. So if you wanted to go from Simmons to the Museum of Science, it's very easy to do so. And one of our first year classes, our professors actually take our students to a field trip where they go somewhere in Boston. So it might be the Museum of Science, it might be the North End or something, for a number of reasons, but also you end up taking public transit with your entire class. Our professors want our students to know how the train and bus system works in Boston, since every city is so different. And so that's also a great way to kind of learn how to use our bus and train system as well. So this is a list of our majors and programs. I would say we have a number of programs. Our top programs, I would say, are nursing, physical therapy, social work, psychology, and business. We're seeing an uptick. So we do have a few direct entry programs. Direct entry programs, meaning you need to indicate interest when you're applying to Simmons. So the reason why those are direct entry, most of them are competitive programs, but also you start taking these major specific classes your first year. So it's pretty tough to transfer into it once you're already at Simmons. So these include nursing, physical therapy, and our accelerated programs on the right side of the screen. So our accelerated programs essentially really are programs where you can receive a bachelor's and an additional degree. So it just depends on which one. So if you see, some of them are batch, some of them are dual bachelor's, master's. There's a doctorate degree for physical therapy students. So a number of different majors that we offer. And we are test optional, which I will get into in a little bit, but basically that means you do not need to submit test scores for any program. So that includes our direct entry programs, that includes our scholarships as well. And to give you an idea of how many students actually submitted test scores last year, only about 16% actually submitted test scores out of the students that were accepted into Simmons. So the rest of them did not submit test scores, which is very telling. So something that we take a lot of pride in is our students to get out in the real world. So we want our students to do some sort of real world learning, no matter what major you choose to do, whether that's nursing, whether that's accounting, psychology, you're going to do some sort of real world learning, meaning you're going to do some sort of internship, research, clinical, and there's a number of reasons for this. One of them is because we want you to start building your resume early. No matter what you end up doing once you graduate, whether that's go to graduate school, get a job, do some volunteer work at a nonprofit, basically you need some sort of resume. And so it's good to have kind of that ready and set to go once you graduate. But also we're encouraging our students to get out in the field and explore their options. So we have students coming in saying, I want to be a nurse and I want to work in pediatrics. Great, that's awesome. But you might get a clinical that works in pediatrics, a rotation that works in that area, but you're going to get rotations in other areas as well. So it might be cardiology, even the different settings. So it might not only be hospitals, it might be community centers, it might be schools. It really just depends. And we want students to get their foot in the door in different areas within their field. So that's just one example. I did mention us being a women's-centered institution. I got a lot of questions about this, and that is fine. But aside from these statistics, I like to just highlight that we want our students to feel empowered and confident when they leave Simmons. Most of the majors that I previously just discussed are in male-dominated fields. And our students that are coming to Simmons are coming from marginalized communities. And we think it's important to highlight what barriers are in place for these populations and what we can do to break them down. And one of those ways is by talking about it and making our students feel like they can be leaders in their field. That was my last slide. I will put my email in the chat if you have questions, but thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Simmons University. And thank you to everyone for participating today. We will do a Q&A session now. Unfortunately, the College for Creative Studies was not able to join us, but they do encourage you to check out their website for more information and to get in contact with them. So again, at this time, we'll have some Q&A time with all of our panelists here today. So if everyone could come back on camera, I will put our first question up on the screen and we'll go in the same order as we presented in. So our first question is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So again, we will start with Carnegie Mellon University.
I would say to apply, not to self-select out, and that includes with financial aid. So, pay attention to deadlines. Those are really important when you're looking at all of the different schools that you're applying to. But just apply, because you never know where you're going to get into if you don't try.
That is excellent advice. Absolutely. If you're interested in a college, apply to it. Don't pay too much attention to the admission rate. You never know where you might get in. The flip side of that is do try to narrow down your list as best you can through research. Keep your options open, explore as many colleges as you can, and find the ones that you're genuinely interested in. But I would discourage you from applying to huge, massive numbers of colleges. It's going to be a lot of work in terms of preparing the applications. And I think the more you can narrow down, your list to the colleges that you have genuine interest in, you have some reason that you're actually applying to that school. If you can narrow that number down and really try to focus as much as you can, it will make the process of applying a little bit easier on you.
Yeah, that was all really incredible advice. I think on perhaps a kind of more cheesier note, I think just have fun with it. This can be one of the most anxiety-producing moments. I still recall on my college search process as the most anxiety-producing moment of my life so far. So don't forget to have fun with it. Many of you have been in core curriculums. You now have the chance to decide exactly how you learn for the next 4 years and where you do that. And you're getting to pick, a whole new place to kind of be yourself for the next 4 years. So don't forget to have fun with that, and listen to your college counselors. They're the experts who also know you really well. So don't forget to heed their advice and pay attention.
Yeah, I would just add, make sure you visit campus before you make a final decision. And oftentimes students will wait until after they've been admitted, and that's completely fine. But ultimately, make sure you get a chance to go see these places, walk around, ask yourself, can I see myself here? Can I see myself studying in this place, or, you know, hanging out with friends in between classes in this place? Because ultimately, a lot of the college decision comes down to a gut feeling about fit that is a lot more, you know, intuitive than anything that we can tell you in terms of the programs we offer, you know, and the resources that we have.
Yeah, I would add, someone who was first generation like myself, it was really hard to kind of figure out what I was doing. So my biggest piece of advice is figure out what your non-negotiables are. So by that, I mean, what are you looking for in the school you attend? Because a lot of times schools can say, are they a fit for you? But it's the other way around. And it's basically like, what can they give you for you to be successful and to do well? Sometimes support and resources look different for everybody. So if you're looking for a school that has a strong athletic program, great. Make sure that that's something you're asking your counselors. What is an athletic program like? If something that is important to you is financial aid, make sure you're meeting with your financial aid counselor. Really, what is something that you're looking for? What's important for you? Whether that's, you know, having support on campus, a student organization, mental health resources. Make sure you're asking those questions, because end of the day, you're the ones who are paying for it, and you're the ones who are going to be experiencing it, not your family, not us as your counselors. So just make sure you have that list, and it's okay to, you know, ask those questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Every time I do this, I get more and more great advice. So thank you all so much for that. We still have just a couple quick minutes left. So I'll put one more question up on the screen. It'll be a fun one here. What is one thing you want students to remember about your school? Since we only have a couple minutes left, what's that thing you want them to leave with to remember? So we'll start again with Carnegie Mellon.
That's a great question. I would say in terms of the School of Drama specifically, we are a conservatory program. So what that means is if you're interested in just studying theater all of the time, we might be a really good fit for you.
Students at Sarah Lawrence play an active role in designing their own education. You know, instead of, you know, following the path of a pre-designed major, you are choosing your own courses. You are building your own program of study.
Kind of just want to steal Seth a little bit. I think in terms of Bennington, a lot of students here, you know, that you can design your own course of study, and they think that means that there isn't a structure. And just remembering that it's not that we don't have a structure, we heavily structure the process. It's just we don't structure the content of what you study. That is all down to you.
I'd say for DePaul, our students really turn the whole city of Chicago into their classroom and their learning experience. With those 2 campuses in Chicago, those unlimited rides on public transportation, you really can just make Chicago yours.
For Simmons, us being a women's center institution, I get a lot of questions about that. But remembering that by women's centered, we do also welcome applicants who identify outside of this binary women, so non-binary, gender fluid, and that's something we take a lot of pride in, because I think it's something that's important to our mission. But also we're in the city, so if you're kind of worried about attending a women's center institution, there's literally guys everywhere. They're everywhere crawling around in Boston. So I think that's just mine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. Again, everyone's contact information is in the chat, so go ahead and get that information copied down. Again, thanks so much for joining us for our presentation today. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 5-question survey, so we'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back to the schedule and sign up for more sessions happening tonight. And you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other sessions recordings from tonight at strivescan.com/college essay guide. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.